Let's do this!
Good evening and welcome to a brand new episode of Coffee with Toffees. My name is Toffee, bringing you all the news you need for Dota. This is going to be a great show brought to you by our sponsors over at dotacasters.com, a place where you can hire casters for your individual games, amateur or otherwise, and a great resource to have some fun with your friends. Razor, the creators of the best peripherals in esports, and of course betway.com, the safest way to place cash bets on your knowledge of esports. Now, this is going to be a great show for you today. I've got some good guests. It is the guys from Complexity Gaming, the winners of the North American Qualifiers, here with us on the show today to answer your questions as well as mine. I think it's going to be a pretty good time. So without further ado, let's flip over to them and open up a chat. Guys, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Yeah, no complaints.
No complaints. That's great to hear. So we got a good show. We're going to start out. I'll start out with some introductions. We'll run through the guys who are here right now, and I believe we'll see Fly joining us at some point during the show potentially. But real quick, let's just run down the couch and introduce yourself. Maybe your real name with whatever you're comfortable us knowing, and the name you go by in game.
Start with you, man.
David Tan. You can call me Moonmeander.
All right.
Kyle Swimmelons Friedman. Watch out, or I'll bring you to my abyss of suffering.
My name is Luis Perez, also known as Zizzy Dota, or Ziz, ZYZZ.
All right. So those are the guys' introductions. We'll have Fly pop in at some point and say hello as well. So we got the introductions out of the way. Now, you guys had one heck of a run through the North American Qualifiers, and our goal tonight is we're going to talk about the lead up to that, sort of what you did to prepare, and then what you're doing going forward to the International. We're also going to chat a little bit about the history of the team, as well as answer some Reddit questions, and I do have a surprise from Moon at the end of the show that I want to ask him some questions about. So I'm excited about getting to that towards the back end.
So hopefully it's not what I found. Jeez, that video, I thought that was good.
Once Fly gets here, we're going to talk a little about how he came to be on the roster. But a big question, since we're going to start off with roster discussion, that I think we need to get off to right out of the gate, because a lot of folks have been asking it, is they want to know what happened with Moonmeander. You were on the team, you weren't on the team, you came back to the team. Give us a little bit of background as to what happened.
All right, so you know, I started to watch this guy's video on the internet. His name is ZYZZ, Ziz, and I started working out because I decided to stop being a small son. I wanted to be a sick cunt, and we're all gonna make it. So I started working out, putting some muscle and pounds on, living a good life, eating good, and having a really nice, healthy mindset, quitting alcohol and smoking, and then yeah, that's what I was doing for the months I was off Complexity, just living life.
I think he's most curious as to why did you leave?
Yeah.
Complexity?
Oh, why did I leave Complexity?
Absolutely.
I left Complexity because we were losing a lot, and I was losing my passion for the game. I started hating the game a lot, and I can blame that to obviously losing sucks, but that 6.83 patch with Troll Warlord and Sniper pretty much killed all my pup games, so I couldn't deal with that anymore. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna quit. And for you guys saying that I'm full of shit, I actually came back the day 6.84 was released. So aha.
Fair enough. So it wasn't an issue of internal drama. It was just you felt like you lost your passion and didn't think that was fair to the team, or did they say you've lost your passion, GTFO?
Jeez, the whole team at that point was just a really hard time for everybody, to be honest.
Makes sense.
And it wasn't so much like internal drama or strife. It was just when you try really hard and then lose in like the worst possible fashion. Like, it's one thing to lose and just get knocked out, no big deal. But we lost, I believe, in the game 3 of 3 LAN qualifiers in 2014. Am I correct? We lost in the finals of the first summit, of the second summit, the qualifier to go to Star Ladder, the qualifier to go to Madison Square Garden. Like, we were getting close, and it just really, those are the worst kinds of losses, I think, because we play for the payoff, we play for the lands, and then, you know.
Absolutely. No, that makes sense. Now, while we're on the topic of rosters, we do want to talk to Fly, who just came in. Welcome. Glad to have you here, sir. A lot of folks asked me, and first off, there's a lot of contention. Do we call him Simba or do we call him Fly? Which do you prefer to go with?
Well, since I came back to support, I'll probably stick to Fly now.
I like it.
Seems more logical. Simba was the offlaner, you know. You go back to the roots of being a support.
So you're sort of like Garth Brooks and Chris Gaines, the same guy but different styles, have different names attached to him. I respect that.
And he's not going to get any country music references.
No, I don't get it at all. Sorry, dude.
All right, so we'll leave it at that. But let me ask you this: how did you find yourself playing with complexity? Take us a little bit through how Fly got to complexity.
Okay, so after the whole secret stuff, I was kind of down for a bit, so I just played low. And then I started making Nippon, which was sort of a rebound team. Started with Hani and Pilot Die, and then it didn't really work out. So that just disbanded, and after that, pretty much.
I don't want to interrupt you, but could you pull the mic away from your mouth just a little bit? I think that you're shaking. There we go. That'll work better. Go for it.
Is that better?
You could actually probably. I think I mean, do you hear us okay?
Yeah, we hear you fine with the shotgun. We don't need the cool mic.
Does it work?
Yep, works just like that. That's perfect.
Yeah, perfect. I'll be the mic holder.
Okay, cool. So yeah, after Meepon, we just disbanded that, and then Sundermelons pretty much started pestering me. One could say. He wanted me to try with the team for a really long time, and eventually said, "Okay, well, I will give it a shot. I know these guys from Han. While I was playing, they weren't like the top tier team. They were up there, but they never really won because we were there. So once we left, they started winning. I was hoping for a reaction from him. Anyways.
What do you mean we were there?
I was trolling him. Anyway, so I tried out with the complexity with, I think back at then, I don't remember who was the fifth. I think it was Squee or something.
Indeed, Zizzy, Squee.
Anyways, there was some fifth player, and we started playing, and then I played on and off for about a month with them, trying to decide if I really want to play with him or not.
Played with Fog too.
Played with Fog as well. And eventually I came to the conclusion that I think they have a lot of potential and I can see myself growing with them. I think the thing I brought most to the team was probably my experience more than anything. And I think they kind of needed it as well. And eventually I just decided that I'm going for it and I believe in these guys and they believe in me. And they want me on their team and I want to be with, play with them. So that's kind of how it worked out.
Awesome. It's a nice sentiment. You believe in them and they believe in you. Some folks asked this on Reddit and tweeted to me about it. Moon and Fly, would you have ever considered yourself rivals in Han in an aggressive way? Did you guys ever find yourself on the opposite sides of the tracks, and what's it like to be together now?
Not really. He was playing support, I was playing off lane. I was playing mid, I was playing like off on mid most of the time, but back when I was playing against him, it was only one tournament. He was support and I was the mid player, so we never actually met. So we're not really rivals. I think he got mixed up with No-Tail.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just as Moon dumped on him mid.
No,
that's why we're bringing that up. Check out the YouTube video.
Absolutely. I find that if you search Moon on YouTube in general, you can find all kinds of interesting things.
Many interesting things.
Many. So let me talk to Zizzy for a second. A lot of folks express the fact that they kind of know Moon. We've seen a lot of stuff he's done. We're very familiar with Fly's past. We know Swindle. He's been on the show before. We don't know a lot about you. So let's hear a little bit about who you are, how you got into Dota, sort of just who is Zizzy. Talk to us about that.
Okay, I mean, my whole nickname came across because of like what Moon did. Just with Ziz, it's this big guy on YouTube who like passed away, but he was like this really weak nerd who just like got super buff. And at the time, I used to be like 300 pounds. So I kind of like found a lot of motivation watching his videos and just lost like 30 pounds. I was like into gaming and whatever, and I just made my like username Ziz. That's how that whole name came across. But I started playing Dota 1 and moved into Dota 2. I never played Han. I've been playing Dota for like almost 6, 7, or 8 years. I don't even remember, since like high school. But a friend of mine recommended me to Melons. His name was Ritsu. because they were looking for a carry player at the time. And
Can I interject real quick? But at that was when Limp had just left and Linuts ditched as well. So I was incredibly desperate. So I was turning to pretty much any NA Dota player I could find, pleading with them to please give me some people who don't suck.
Nice.
Ritsu was one of them, and then me.
yeah,
TZ Slayer.
Ritsu
Ritsu
is
TZ
Slayer.
Slayer. You cannot say Ritsu when I sing on TZ Slayer.
Yeah.
Boy. Yeah, sorry. You're done.
Anyways, I tried out for the team. We played some tournaments. I matched well with everyone. I started playing really well when I first got on the team, and then we slowly started getting worse and worse. And then, like, once we got Moon and Tall at the gaming house, that's when everything just started clicking, and everyone just started getting their shit together, and everyone just started playing more as a team. I don't know. That's just the story.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about that as we sort of transition into coming to the house, boot camp stuff. How long have you guys been in the Complexity House?
2.5 months.
I actually have no idea. I think we moved in like late April. Tal got here, I think, late May? No, not May.
I have no idea.
We got here in March, Beef?
We got here in the middle of April.
We got here in the middle of April.
Almost
Tal
7.
got here at, like 2 weeks later. So really early in May.
So
Like a week after us, on the 26th of April or something.
26th of April.
26th of April.
In the house.
So with plenty of time to prepare for TI qualifiers, I think is the moral of the story. What did your schedule, what did your training look like leading up to qualifiers? Did it intensify as we got closer? And then what did the last few weeks, describe the last few weeks leading into qualifiers?
I wake up, Zach's poking his face into my room. He says, "Wake the fuck up, it's time to go to the gym. I'm gonna leave without you." I roll out of bed, we all get in the car, we go to the gym, work out. Tom makes us do stretching. He does more pull-ups than I can do, and this weird push-up exercise that I have no idea how he manages to do that after chest day. We come home, we make like 30 eggs, eat large breakfast, much kale, go upstairs, play Dota, scrim, snack, Dota, dinner, more Dota, second dinner, more Dota, snacks. Maybe we watch Dota. And again, like the reason team houses are so awesome is because we're at the gym and we're stretching and we'll be just theory crafting like shit, like what beats the Strat, and we'll come up with weird things. And that's pretty much it. I mean, as Moon was saying, like I've always believed that it's really important to have like a clean mind, like clean house. You have to be healthy, and that'll translate to doing better at Dota. So we've always been sort of immersed in Dota, but I don't think too much. We always take like a day off every once in a while, always relaxed, but not super stressed, not relaxed, but just kind of focused.
Awesome. Now that you do bring up an interesting point that was brought up by some viewers and things of that they said they asked about the health and fitness aspect of your game. Moon, they said, they know that you've been hitting gym. You talked about it on stream a little bit. Fly's pretty famous for his health and fitness routines. Do you guys feel like you've seen a noticeable difference in play as you focused on things like working out and health, or you just feel better and, the play is what it is? All right, so the sound just cut out. I can't hear you anymore. So we'll see if maybe the mic became disconnected or something. We know Moon's saying something, but we cannot hear it. There it is. It's back. It's back. Nope, and now it's gone.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Slut B. God damn it.
Hold on.
All right.
The task cam ran out of batteries. We can probably hear you right now.
We can't. We can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
I should just replace these batteries before it dies again.
Okay, 1 second. It ran out of batteries.
Fair.
It's the juice.
Well,
We'll return after these brief technical difficulties.
Okay. All right, give me 1 second, Toffees.
That's fine. That's you haven't made that sweet TI money yet, so you gotta get those batteries lasting as long as possible. Alright guys, so stick around as we get the sound fixed up with the boys from Complexity Gaming. And you know what, now is a great time. We're going to go to our commercial break for sponsors. So we're going to have a quick break with the sponsors and we'll be right back as Complexity gets the mics fixed. So stick around and we'll be right back with more time with Complexity Gaming.
Razer Comms is a free all-in-one communication tool that allows you to stay in touch with friends both in and out of the game. With features such as friendless, groups, mobile SMS forwarding, and call notifications, Razer Comms is a communication solution for the dedicated gamer. Razer Comm's minimal in-game overlay has a panel that grabs all your messages and lets you see who is speaking in a voice call without interrupting your game.
Now I'll always know who's breathing into the mic. It's always me.
By pairing Razer Comm's mobile with your PC, your friends can call you, no matter where you are.
Alright, so we're back from our break. It would have been nice to have 65 more sponsors to keep running commercials, but we don't. So we are going to hang out while Complexity fixes the microphone on their side. Is that, there we go. Swindle looks like he thinks it's fixed. And there we go.
Okay.
We got you. Sound is back. So, the question that I believe we were working on is, do you feel like a focus on fitness has helped your play?
Yes, it has. It helped me focus more, and I feel I'm a better mindset, and it's a mind-muscle connection. I can feel my muscles being repaired constantly. I like the feeling of constant soreness. It's like something I get accustomed to after a while, and I really like the feeling of it.
Awesome.
I think a better question is, did our Dota 2 interfere with our gains?
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But they couldn't go to the gym in the qualifiers.
We skipped the gym the whole qualifiers.
Well, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You just make up for it on the back end. I myself haven't made up for it in about 3 years, as you can tell. But, you know, maybe one day. So let's talk about training camp. How big an impact do you think it had on your success? Is it imperative for teams going forward to have team houses, to have training camps?
Yes, everyone should start working out in the Dota scene. That's why any Dota is dying, because no one works out.
Team house. Huh? Didn't we just ask about team house?
I asked if the team houses are.
Moon doesn't care. Okay, Moon doesn't care.
I personally think that team houses are like when we signed our contract. Well, me, I guess, because I guess was there too. But when I initially negotiated the contract with Complexity, it was imperative that we have a team house as like a tangible thing that we're going to get, because it's not just. You can spend a lot more time on Dota without spending as much time on Dota. It's just healthier for everyone involved, because instead of needing to be on your computer in your room with your headset on to talk to your team, you can just take the day off and go to a movie or eat dinner or something, but you're still sort of in the mindset. You're still with your team, talking about Dota, you know, building relationships, all that stuff. And when you're in a house, it's almost like you're making a conscious decision as a person that I am going to be a professional Dota 2 player. I am moving here. I'm going to pursue the dream of being a Dota 2 player. And if you, let's say, had 4 players and one player was like still in some faraway place, like maybe across the ocean in like a German type region, that would really hurt your cohesion, because you feel like one guy wasn't really there. And you don't feel as motivated and as dedicated. There's no togetherness.
All right, all right, so it sounds like everybody agrees that team house is necessary. It looks like the training, when you talk about your schedule alone, that sort of just shows a huge difference between that and some remote teams that sort of just play with a very different practice schedule. Let's talk a little bit about the event. And first, I want to start with the question that I am most personally curious about, and I need you to be honest when I ask you this question. If you had Complexity listed as your #1 team on your compendium, raise your hand. I like that. I love it. I just wanted to make sure. Because you guys definitely changed a lot of folks' perspectives. I mean, we went from a team that went 0-3 against Not Today, not too long ago, to a team that dominated the North American qualifiers in a really powerful fashion. So a lot of folks were caught off guard. A lot of folks were surprised. What was your plan going into this event?
I think the master plan was lose every land final. And every TI. And then grab TI 5 and lose every match leading up to TI 5. And then bust out the strats of TI 5. You know? False sense of security. Yeah. Fall apart and plan, you know?
So that's an interesting point because we did see a lot of that going in, and then we saw something big happen. The patch came out, the game changed. Moon came back and said, "I love this. Troll is dead. I rejoice and celebrate." Do you think this new patch had an impact on your ability to win? How did it affect the team?
Right, okay.
Oh, Captain.
That's true. This in Han, the balancers were balancers. The game didn't really change very much. We ran the same strategy and sort of tweaked it a little bit, and it was mostly based on focus on running junglers, tower pressure, controlling the map, constricting the enemy's resources, and timing pushes, and just winning through map control and good team fighting.
Gotcha.
6.83, I didn't understand. I was drafting for like 45 plus minutes. I didn't have a plan for the early game. I didn't have a plan for the mid game. Like I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't understand how to draft. I'm like, okay, shit, they left troll and sniper. Like, what do I do? Oh crap, they're both banned. What do I do now? And I just didn't know how to play the game. This patch is actually about, it's Dota, you know, there's a real strategy. You can run anything you want. It's just, it works. And it brought back my motivation, and it brought back the pub train, which is the only thing I'm good at. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Let me ask you also this. Fly joined the team. You're an accomplished drafter in your own right. I know you've done a lot of drafting in the past. Has that helped with the drafts going forward to your success? Have you been able to contribute, or is it pretty much you just get to sit there and play?
I think I definitely help. Besides like the whole theory, I think in general drafting is actually a team thing. That's at least how I look at it. At the end of the day, the captain has the final say, so he does have the bigger role in the drafting. But it's sort of a team thing. Like usually, it's more than one person giving input every draft. In this team, I think myself and Zephyr give the most opinions like during the draft. Moon usually doesn't want to actually say anything. He kind of just wants to play. And Ziz only talks actually in competitive matches about the draft.
Yeah.
I think it does help a lot because I give a different perspective to things. And we sort of figure out the whole meta together, and we do mock drafts, we watch other people, and we all talk about it. It's really a team thing. Like the team figures it out at the end, and then at the end the captain makes the final decision. In this case, Swindle, and I think we got it worked out pretty well. We were prepared for every match, and like we were really thinking about all the different scenarios and like trying to say what happens if they ban this and they take this, you know. So I think I help a lot in that aspect.
Awesome. That's really cool to hear that it's a team effort in a lot of ways. What was it like after the big win? I mean, you guys came from behind in a lot of perspective. A lot of folks didn't think that you would do as well as you did, and then you come out, you not only get through to Seattle, but you get through in the top position. What was the feeling in the house, and has that sort of helped motivate you guys since then in practices on your daily basis?
Ziz, what?
Was there rejoicing, Ziz, or did you all just sort of sit there and go, business as usual?
No, I didn't hear the question. Could you repeat it?
This is what it's like.
Yeah, I'll pick it up.
This is Ziz in scrims.
It definitely motivated us for the future because like we're like, hey, we're not shit. Wow, we actually made it. I can't believe we're actually gonna make it to TI5. But Fly was like, yeah, whatever. But for like all of us, the rest of us who hasn't made it to the TI yet, it's like big for us because like we're like relatively new to the game compared to like the veterans.
Yeah.
And, like beating the veterans, finally path our way into the scene. Like really, like I just want to be a tier 1 team. We're just gonna reach a double, so we can get out of the NA Dota mucky metagame and get into the real game.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
It's so awful when you see yourself as a tier 1 player. Like I'm better than them. I'm smarter than them. I can draft better. I can play better. But you lose to them. It's like. It's awful. It's just absolutely awful.
So let me piggyback off of that, Swindle. And I know that we've talked before a little bit on the show, but did this feel in a lot of ways like sort of vindication for you guys to step forward and say, listen, we are that competitive. We can play on that level. We can make the transition from Han?
I mean, yes. I'll just answer yes. Specifically, like our first 2 matches really set the tone. We opened the tournament playing Root. Fluff beat us in 3 LAN qualifiers of the finals. We lost to Sneaky Nick's Assassins, I think, 6 times, 2-1, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound about right, Pete?
6 or 7. Yeah.
6 or 7. And I never thought they were better than we were. And I know that they considered themselves better than us. Same way, and it drove me nuts because I didn't think they were. And they went into that series thinking they were the favorites, and they were not the favorites. And it was really nice to be able to prove that. And I really kind of owe it to the team, really, because this is the first time I've had a team where everyone is trustworthy, everybody can make plays, and there's no one you feel is like a weak link. You know, everyone's just, we're kind of growing together. If we fail or lose games, it's normally because we made mistakes as a team. And luckily in that series, we didn't make many.
That sounds pretty good. Let me ask you this as you guys start. Let's talk a little about TI as you prepare for the big event, Seattle, a couple months away. Are there any special plans to get ready, or is it just business as usual?
Oh, we can't reveal this Australia plans. We gotta keep it secret.
I'm fine with that. So you guys have special things in the works.
Maybe we do, maybe we don't.
We're going to medieval times. Midnight premiere of Jurassic World.
Yeah.
That is, I actually want to see that. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to since I have a baby, but we will see. All right, so I want to talk about TI, but I think that some of the Reddit questions that came in also really apply to going forward. And you don't have to answer this in terms of TI. This can be answered about in the past. But Gorgon over on Reddit wants to know, when you guys consider which strategies to use for which games, how opponent-specific have your considerations been? Do you have, say, different strategies for Team A and Team B? Or do you, say, use your strongest drafts on hardest opponents? Do you factor in point systems? What do you approach this with?
That's a captain thing to say.
Yeah.
I don't think we would hold anything back against any teams.
No. We do play differently, though. Like, when we play against root gaming, we're like, okay, we're gonna do this.
Well, I'll bring this up.
Yeah.
Here's a great... So, we scrimmed root like 15 times before qualifiers were even announced. And then when we realized we were in the same group, we just, you don't scrim a team in your group. And the day before qualifiers, it wasn't the day of, we played a warm-up scrim against Wheel.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to run anything that we might use against root because we had a suspicion that they would share information. We ran a drow strat. And lo and behold, Root Gaming second man's drow in the first game. That was the only scrim we ran drow ever.
Yeah. We only played drow one game since we've been at this house, like practicing for TI qualifiers.
We played it that game and then later against Mouse.
Yeah.
So in that case, I like to think that was like a masterful move because they just, like, come on, like, you can't, that's some shit people were doing in Han, like, years ago, okay? In Han, you had no way to hide scrims. So you could just scout people. Oh, Kyle's playing Ravenor over and over. I wonder what they're going to pick. So, it was really fun to get them to ban that. That was good. So in that sense, like, scrims, you always like have to be careful because you don't know who's going to share information, and you want to make sure you practice the right things. But you prepare for different teams in Dota, much like I think any sport would. Like, there's different players you have to key on, different heroes that become valuable. Like against Maus, we were going to ban Bounty Hunter every game. They made it to the finals. Against Gnar, like, you ban Io every game. Just simple things like that. Anything to add, Tom? Like, just.
I do think like that you draft a bit differently against each team. Because like Kyle said, against Maus we would probably ban Bounty, etc. But I mean, at the end of the day, you kind of watch how they play and then you decide what to do. Because each team has their own unique play style. Most teams don't do something too crazy all the time and switch it up too much. So that's kind of how you address it. Like you do address each team individually.
I think a good way to describe it would be just to look at how teams place their second round of wards. So some teams will place 2 defensive wards mid. Some will place an aggressive one in the off lane and a lane ward safe lane. Some will place lane wards mid and safe. It all sort of just gives you information on what sort of style they play, whether it's aggressive or defensive, and which heroes and players they value, just as an example. Luckily, my supports are like next level nerd, so they are warding on the spawn box, like on the corner, like framed perfect. It's hilarious. So
that's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Let me ask. Martin Spoos on Reddit also asked, do you guys get enough scrims versus tier 1 and 2 teams, or do you feel like it's hard to find those warm-up matches?
We played, I don't like talking about scrim results, so I'm not going to bring those
No,
up.
I don't want results. We just want to know, is it hard in the position you're in? Because you guys are top of this group coming out of the qualifiers. A lot of teams have sort of maybe not considered you a factor due to some previous results. Do you have a hard time getting scrims with teams in the Tier 1 grouping, or do you feel like you get a good amount of scrims?
The only Tier 1 team we played at all is EG, and that was very recently. We're hoping to get shit on a little less hard so that they'll play us more often. We play NAR Mouse like whenever we want. Same with any. Now that we've kind of assumed the title of second best in NA, we can pretty much play anyone in NA whenever because they want to play us now because we're going to TI. It's strange how that works. We're actually here because it was really close to EU, so we could play EU teams, but we haven't really been able to play them. A lot of them are at LANs, but I really hope that we can get preferably like 10 at least games against Secret before TI. Those are like the really big team to play, I think, and then maybe Empire VP just so we can learn how to counter the Russian Dota.
Makes sense. So you brought it up. Let's go to a question that Sylvanas entered into the group, and it was she wants to know what your expectations for TI5 are, and how, more importantly, how do you see yourself in comparison to other top teams right now? Like you mentioned EG, you hope that it goes better next time around. How do you think you compare to the top teams, middle teams, things like that?
Right now, we're not as good. And if TI was played today, I don't know. I don't think we would do very well.
Okay.
But from now until TI, we're going to be the hardest working team in the world. So we'll see how far that gets us. They got us to TI, and obviously we go. There's only one goal in mind, and getting to TI was more of like a relief than joy because it's something like we had to do. Now we're at the real challenge, so we're just going to work hard and see what happens. But obviously we're going to try and win.
Time to work. Do you have... So if TI was played right now, you got a lot of work to do. Do you think that you could take on the other teams that have finished from qualifiers? I think the best question is, do you think that you guys are ready to, say, take on Navi right now?
Yes. Yeah. I definitely think so. I think we stepped it up a lot. Like in the qualifiers, we played really good as a team. And like most teams, we play better in like actual matches than scrims. That's pretty much obvious for everyone. I don't think we're at the tier 1 where I could compare us to, say, EG, Secret, etc. yet. But I think from the teams that qualified, I definitely think we would give like a really good game, and I think we can win against all the teams that qualified.
I agree.
Awesome. So cards on the table, just for our benefit. If you had to say right now, you've got 2 months to train, is your expectation... we hope to finish in the top 8, get paid, and prepare for the next TI? Or are you thinking, you know what, with the right training over the next 2 months, we can finish in the top 3, get really well paid, and dominate going into the next TI?
I think that any Dota 2 player taking what they're doing seriously should be disappointed with anything less than first place.
I love it.
Not saying that that's like the expectations or that we're naive enough to think that we should even be close to the favorites or anything, but I personally would be... I'm going to be equally crushed whether we get knocked out in 14th, 8th, or 3rd place. There's... Losing sucks.
Yeah.
Going through a tournament without losing is what you aim for, so...
Awesome. I like to hear that. Confidence.
I don't want to set the bar like artificially low because you go to TI and like, oh, nice, we made winners bracket semifinals, or we made the winners bracket. And you're like, oh, we're in top 8, good stuff. Like, that can't be your goal, That was the thing about winning the first series against NAR. Yeah, we're going to TI, but like we have 3 more to win. Like it's not over, and that's how you have to treat each and every series.
I like it. I think that's good confidence. Let me ask this question. The Conquering King wants to know, do you guys feel like North American Dota is underappreciated right now?
Yes. I feel like tournament organizers turn a blind eye to the qualifiers or intentionally do it. So like teams like Mouse Sports and Cloud9 can squeak through any qualifiers.
So let's run with that. How did it feel? Were you frustrated at all when Mouse Sports declared that they'd be playing in the North American qualifiers? And were you pretty happy when they got knocked out, or do you feel like, it's okay for them to be here?
I'm not happy to get knocked out because Black is my friend.
Okay.
They're really good players.
They are.
They could be top 8 in the world if they qualified in TI5. And I feel like they should have done better, which is bad luck. And yeah, I think that they actually had bad luck. I think maybe if they qualified in the team house and they played as a team, it could have been a really strong force.
All right.
I think they underestimated the competition significantly. And it was very, very fun to retweet Pilot Die, who had already filled in his team as the American qualifiers.
Wow.
That's the thing.
Lamer.
You can't say, look, we already won before you even play a game. Like, you can't do that. Like,
I think
no flame.
I don't think they got unlucky. I just think it felt like they didn't take everyone as serious, or they had some issues within the team, because I don't think they played actually as a 5 team. I felt like they were just really good players on the same team, kind of just expecting to go to TI, and I think it pretty much got back to them. And that's why they didn't make it. I don't believe in bad luck in this case.
All
I don't
right.
like Lakers.
That's a solid answer. All right, so let me ask you this. You guys just made fun of Swindle a little bit for Flame, or for getting into it, potentially with that retweet. This came up a lot as I did research for the interview today. Swindle, has the trout beef been squelched, or is it still live?
Sad to, eh?
I mean, I would have really liked to compete in the World Cyber Arena. Unfortunately, I guess we weren't a top 8 North American team a month ago. I don't have beef with anybody, man. I like to just look at the results, and hopefully mine will outshine everybody's eventually.
All right, so I think that sums it up pretty well. Swindle going on record saying he's got beef with no one. And here's a question, Gil. Let's have some fun with this. Kyle1031 asks, and this is for you, Moon. What's it like to know that you are an inspiration to hundreds of Dota players, including him?
It's good. Being an inspiration, because it's like a cycle of inspiration. God inspires me, I inspire people, people inspire God to inspire me. It's a beautiful cycle, and let's keep it up, guys.
All right, so going off of what you just said, this is a video clip I wanted to put together to show from Moon a while back ago. It was brought to my attention by some fans, and I want to hear your comments on it after we watch just a little bit of this thing. So here we go, guys. I am going to switch over so that you can enjoy this wonderful video that was released by Moon once upon a time.
City. That was Albert Einstein, the guy who revolutionized physics and science and the nuclear bomb.
Just take off channel.
There was Jesus, who revolutionized Jerusalem.
Oh my god, the hot video is fuck.
And then this Rocky, who revolutionized the boxing scene.
It's like me so long ago.
And then...
Is this the speech?
And then...
Can't hear it.
And then...
Technical difficulties yet again.
There's Moonmeander.
TV, sound off.
I set my standards.
Do you remember this video?
I don't know which one it is.
All-time high.
I don't know what it's called.
I inspire people every day. I show them things they would never imagine was possible
Because there's
in
no
any
sound.
other fucking game.
All right, I think that sums it up a little bit. For those of you who might not know, for you guys on the couch, it was a Han video that Moon released once upon a time, in which he says that there's Thomas Edison, there's Albert Einstein, there's Jesus, and there's Moonmeander. And that's a little bit of a paraphrase. And then
Wrong order.
the order may be off, but I know that he goes from Jesus to, and then there's Moonmeander. I inspire people. Do you feel the same way? Do you think that you still inspire? And more importantly, if you win TI, you got to go with that confidence level. Are we going to get a speech from you on the main stage of that level?
No, you guys are not gonna get a speech from the main stage. Just gonna have I'm just gonna get a couple shout outs, and that's it. I'm just gonna give a speech when I get home or something.
Okay, what led to this change? I want to say this change back to Moon-mannered, I think is what they're calling you. What's that?
It's Mannered Meander.
Got it. So Mannered Meander, is that
Manners, Meander.
Is that something that you are applying to professionalism inside of complexity? Like, is that just a new frame of thought for you, or do we get to see you go back to your old self every once in a while?
No, just pretty much it. The old self was the person who never won. The new self is a winner.
All right.
That's it.
I like it. I like that idea. So that's about what we have time for in the show today, guys. I do want to ask you this because I think this is important. Complexity Gaming, do you have anything to say to the doubters, the folks out there who said there's no way Complexity will make it even the top 4? They aren't competitive. They aren't part of the NA scene on the top tier. Now you are. You come out of qualifiers at #1 position. You're doing great. You clearly have a mastery of this current patch. What do you want to say to those folks who've doubted you?
Keep it up. It helps.
I like that's a good one. That's a really good one, actually. On the same token, what do you want to say to the fans? There's folks in chat who said that they had you listed as #1. People who believed in you all along. What do you want to say to those folks?
Thanks for believing in us and having faith in us and putting your faith in us. It means a lot. And sticking with us throughout the tough times, even though when we were losing, you couldn't poke your head out. But now that we won, you can be like, hey, I'm a complexity fan, I'm a compendium. You know, you're always there. You can finally show your passion for us, you know, and like knowing that there are people out there who support us even if we're losing is pretty heartwarming.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed.
That's awesome.
I don't have many fans, but the ones I do have been around for a long time. They've always been there for the ups and the downs. Much appreciated. Special shout outs, of course, to the family, Papa Freak, Mama Freak, Christina, and all the brothers, of course. There's too many freaks to list them all individually.
Well, no, that's while we're on the topic, though, let's take a second. I want to thank you guys for coming on. I want to give you a chance to do shout-outs, plug some sponsors, say anything that you need to say before we sign out for the evening.
Big shout-outs.
Sound Blaster, G2A, Newegg, Creative, Twitch, Devil Power Color, XPG, Adada, the EX Racer, Pointed Wear, and shout out to my boy Dota Domo.
Shout out to Ritsu and Beef.
Yeah, shout out to Beef. Beef's the man. And Ebony and Asia. And other people that helped us get to where we are. Mostly Beef, though.
Mostly Beef.
Beef is the reason.
Beef
Beef bought me my compendium for last TI. And bought me like points as well so that I could boost to higher up. And it was all part of his nefarious scheme to convince me to play Dota and then sign us a month later before anyone else could. And
wow.
Yeah.
Beef with the long con.
Beef is the real next level.
He next level con man as well as AC repairman. Beef does it all. Pretty phenomenal, guys. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. I do want to big a shout out to our sponsors here on the show, Dotacasters.com, Razer, and Betway, for supporting the show, supporting small Dota content creators. It means the world. Again, thank you to you guys. I appreciate you setting up, putting the couch together. It means a lot to all the fans who are watching and listening. The show will be on YouTube tonight and out on podcast tomorrow, so you can consume it any way you choose. That said, you guys have a wonderful evening. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. And as always, folks,
appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Toffees out.
Yeah.